I have made a beautiful one-page PDF that's sort of a journaling mindfulness mindset exercise that will help you with your guilt. Welcome back to video number 4 of our Feelings as Friend guilt series. The first one we talked about what guilt actually is, and then we moved on to good guilt, we did bad guilt, and we did inspired guilt. And now I want to give you the summary of how you can work with any kind of guilt. My name is Casey Berard, and I have a background in traditional Chinese medicine, Reiki, and yoga. And I am a mindfulness coach and chakra therapist who this year is doing a video series called Feelings as Friends. And we're going to be working through a whole bunch of feelings. And this series that you've happened to join me on is about guilt. So we're in video number 4 of 4, and we're working on a PDF. Now, the first thing you're going to do is really acknowledge that guilt is about behavior. Feel that in your gut. We're going to work with a specific guilt. So I want you to identify and isolate a specific behavior that you think should have been different. And behavior, action, however you want to look at it. Okay? Now, we want you to describe the specific event. And here it's really awesome that writing stuff out is exceptionally transformative. In fact, sometimes I've even experimented with this just for you guys. I have tried and resisted writing stuff out. And oh my God, it's so frustrating because I'm like, it's not until I write it out that I can feel it leaving the last cells of my body. And that's really what the work I do is about, is getting you back in your chakra systems, getting you back into your cells so that you're fully in alignment. Okay, so we're journal writing, we're taking this specific guilt-inducing event and we're writing it all out as detailed as we can. I want you to imagine how old you were. I want you to remember what you were afraid of. Now, this is a hard one because we want you to actually get into that feeling. So I'm going to actually walk you a little bit through one of mine that took me a long. I did this exercise for about 9 months to really try and get into it. I felt really guilty about getting a separation and then a future divorce. So I did a lot of walking and journal writing. So I walked by the river and I remembered my 24-year-old self who met my then person. And it was so funny because I did this exercise when I was about 34. And the 34-year-old in me was really judgmental. The 34-year-old in me was not dropping into my chakras and feeling compassion for that 24-year-old who was making decisions based on that time and space. And this is really the crux of this exercise, is getting into the shoes of that being in you that made that choice. So that 24-year-old in me was very wounded. She was clinically depressed. She was lonelier than lonely. And this beautiful woman came into my life and we adored each other, and it brought me up to another level, and it served so many of my needs for so many years. Now the 33-year-old who was judging and looking and hating all of this and feeling guilty and stupid and ashamed did not feel that. But when I stopped fighting with that older part of me and I really embodied the part of me that was really in need of healing and love, I could really feel the release of the guilt and the shame and the grief that surrounded this. So we're looking for reasons we made those choices on a cellular level so that we can really offer ourselves compassion and then eventually move forward. So now that you've hit that deep heart space, I want you to sit deep within yourself, and I want you to connect with the fact that you did what you were capable of doing at the time. And surround yourself with love and respect and joy and maybe even forgiveness You might have to do this exercise a few times to really connect with that deep sense of forgiveness. So releasing these big forms of guilt requires us to hold a little bit of space, or a lot of space, for the grief we feel around the loss that was perceived through this behavior that was induced. So you can see how sort of like layers our feelings get to try and protect us or to help us. And we just slowly open up like a flower, being curious and allowing ourselves to get to that core space that is really the deepness where the healing occurs. So when you actually settle into who you were at the time, what you were capable of, you feel deep compassion for that person. Can you forgive them? Can you let them have been just perfect the way they were, perfectly imperfect at that time, doing the best they could do? Can you let that soften your whole being? Let it free your whole being. I always picture sort of unhooking myself from the past, it's almost like I was a jailer for myself in the past. So I really use visual images to let myself release this energy, this guilt, so that I can move forward. Now here's the exciting part, is really acknowledging that you have grown. You are expanding. This guilt caused you to expand, and that you are growing in a new level of capacity and a new level of love and joy for yourself and others. If you are ready, you can step out. You may actually want to pause, rewind the video, and work through this a little deeper, really feeling the feelings. You may have to work on this for a month, 9 months. The deeper the grief, the deeper the guilt, the deeper the other feelings that you're feeling, the more likely you are to need help from a professional. By no means am I saying that this one little PDF and the video will help heal you of all your guilt. So please discern, is this something you can do on your own, or do you need some professional help? And don't be afraid to ask. It is one of the most privileged places to be as a coach and therapist, and it is one of the most beautiful places to be. Even as I've seen my clients and my friends do this work with me, it's amazing, and it's such a blessing to be able to work with someone on this intimate level. So if you are working on the worksheet on your own, though, you can start to create some affirmations that help you transform and grow on the path, to help you take that next step. So it's like, I lovingly release the past, might be an example. I forgive myself. I did the best I could. I was perfectly imperfect, and I love myself. You can use EFT idea. Even though I made horrible, stupid mistakes, I still deeply love and approve of myself. Whatever level of affirmation, having these in place is a really empowering tool on the path. So I've written all this stuff down. You can rewind the video and work through the worksheet on your own at a time when you have a quiet space and you can really get into your cells. The other thing I like to tell people not to do is to talk about this stuff for about 5 to 7 days. Let it really marinate deeply into your cells and become integrated in who you are. And then if you need to talk afterwards, you can do that, and you'll be processing another layer or another level of the feeling. So that concludes our feelings as friends, with guilt being our friend, 4-part series. If you missed any of the videos, don't worry, there will be links below, and you can also connect to this PDF that I have for free for you. I want to wish you, beautiful feisty soul, much joy, cheers, and blessings on your path, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.